I'm Donald Freeman. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in 1974 in Albany, Georgia. I lived in various states, but when I was in third grade, I moved to Deltona. I stayed in Deltona in my entire childhood until I graduated Deltona High School in 1993. 2 weeks after graduation from high school, I entered the U.S. Navy, completed boot camp in San Diego, California, and was enrolled in the Hospital Corpsman School, which is also in San Diego, California. Completion of Hospital Corps School, I was assigned to the Marine Corps, but I had to do additional training at Camp Pendleton, California, which is a little bit further up north. And I went through Hospital Corps School there with the Marines, ran you through your paces, and you learned how to operate medically within the Marine Corps unit. I was then assigned to Okinawa, Japan, where I was there for a year and a half, or a year, and then volunteered to go to 2nd Marine Division. And I was assigned to 2nd CEB and also BLT 36, where I made several deployments, one of which was over to Iraq on a med cruise. Upon completion of my military career, I got out in 1998 and entered the police academy. I graduated police academy, worked in various departments, Daytona, as a reserve police officer until Orange City Police Department picked me up. Worked there for 4.5 years. During that time frame, 9/11 happened. So I, being patriotic and the need with my skill set, I joined the reserves, and since I was a medic with the job of being with the Marines, they assigned me to a Marine Corps unit and got activated and went back over to Iraq. I served in Iraq from 2003 to 2004, and upon completion of that, well, my greatest accomplishment over there was making sure that all my Marines and fellow sailors made it back okay, which we did that, mission accomplished. And when I got back to Orlando, I immediately got hired by the UCF Police Department, where I worked there for 10.5 years. During that time frame, within a year of starting at UCF Police Department, I got assigned to the K9 unit and got my first dog. His name was K9 Rambo, single purpose narcotics detection K9. Worked him for about 3.5 years, roughly, until we got to a car wreck on I-4, and he never really recovered from his injuries from that car wreck. He worked a little bit, but we ended up replacing him. I kept him, adopted him, and I was assigned K9 Connor. I went through full service school, which is 400 hours long. Additional for narcotics detection was another 180 hours. And I was working a patrol narcotics dog, which means I can search for missing persons. I can search for the bad guy. I can apprehend the bad guy. I can find drugs. I can find evidence that's laid out on a track. And we was quite successful and used by various different agencies like Customs, Orange County Sheriff's Office, Orlando PD, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, and other various agencies in Central Florida. In 2014, I decided that I needed a life change and went back as a private military contractor with AMK9, working explosive detection K9. They assigned me to a PSD unit, which I got extensive training on that. And what PSD is basically bodyguards, where we protect important people like diplomats, a lot of VIPs. My job in that was as a K9 handler to sweep the area for explosive devices and other stuff I can't talk about. I did that for about 7-8 months. Contract ended and another company took over. They wanted me to stay. It was a little bit more money, but I'm very loyal to the company that hired me, AMK9. I didn't want to transfer over to Triple Canopy. So I stayed with AMK9, and I took a pay cut to stay with them. And I did it was the U.S. Embassy. I did static protection where I was sweeping checkpoints for explosive devices and various things like that. We also worked very closely with the 56 Special Forces Regiment of the Iraqi Army. And I did that for the rest of my time in Iraq until December of this past year. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more of my story in the coming days and weeks.